We are looking at a company that feels less like a brand and more like a stubborn physical object.
Oh, I like that.
Like a block of bedrock in Brooklyn that just refuses to turn into a PowerPoint presentation.
That is a very, very evocative image, and honestly, it's entirely accurate.
I feel like we need to be clear about who we're talking about right off the bat, because if you are an audio nerd, you might not know the name.
But you've seen them?
Oh, you have definitely seen their product.
Yeah.
We are talking about Grado Labs.
Yes.
And specifically, because this is what they're known for now, we are talking about their headphones.
Yes. The ones that look like they were stolen from a World War II radio operator's desk.
The ones with the antennas. If you're listening to this on the subway, look around.
Yeah.
I guarantee you might see someone wearing headphones that look shockingly, almost comically primitive.
Right, with the foam pads, the metal rods sticking out, the open grills on the side.
That is Grado.
And that aesthetic isn't a retro affectation. That's a really key point. It's not some hipster design choice made by a marketing team in 2024.
No.
They look like that because, well, that's just how they've always made them. They haven't really changed the fundamental design in decades.
And that's the mission for this deep dive.
Yeah.
I want to understand how a family business working out of a former fruit store in Sunset Park, Brooklyn.
The same building.
The same building for 70 years, by the way.
Yeah.
How do they manage to stay relevant in 2026?
It is a study in stubbornness as a business strategy. But I think to really get it, you have to understand that Grado isn't really a tech company in the modern sense.
What are they then?
They're a craft workshop that accidentally got famous.
But wait, before we get into the cult of the headphone, and it is a cult, let's be real, we have to address the elephant in the room.
Or the fruit in the room.
Huh. Yes, the fruit in the room. Since they're in a fruit store, they didn't start with headphones.
No, and this is where the DNA of the sound comes from. But I promise we'll keep this brief because I know everyone wants to talk about the cans.
Okay, good. Because I think people hear phono cartridge and their eyes glaze over.
But you have to understand this one thing. Joseph Grado, the founder, wasn't an electronics guy initially. He was a watchmaker.
A watchmaker. Okay, pause. How do you go from fixing, like, Rolexes to building audio gear? That seems like a massive leap.
It's actually not a leap at all if you think about the mechanics of it.
Okay, explain.
Think about what a watch actually is. It is a universe of microtolerances.
Tiny little parts.
Tiny parts. You have gears, springs, balances that have to interact perfectly. If a hairspring is off by a fraction of a millimeter, literally a hair's width, the time is wrong.
The whole thing fails.
The whole system fails. It's an obsession with physical precision.
Okay, I'm with you so far.
And audio transducers, the little engines inside a speaker or headphone that actually move the air, are surprisingly similar.
How so?
Well, you have a voice coil, which is this tiny, tiny coil of wire moving inside a magnetic gap. If that coil is slightly off-center,
Distortion.
you get distortion. If the mass of the cone is slightly uneven,
The frequency response is ruined.
exactly. Joseph Grado brought that watchmaker logic to audio in the 1950s.
So while other people were just kind of winding wire and hoping for the best, he was probably looking at it with a jeweler's loop screaming about tolerances.
He was. He was fixing quality control issues for legends, people like Saul Morantz and Sherman Fairchild, because he had the hands for it. He had the feel for that precision.
So he started with phono cartridges, the little needles for vinyl players.
On his kitchen table, the classic startup story. $2,000 in capital on his kitchen table in Brooklyn.
Kitchen table to global domination.
Well, kitchen table to fruit store domination. In 1955, he took over his father's grocery building, and that's where they still are today. Here's the other half of the equation, and this is the part that I think actually explains why people either love or hate these headphones. Joseph wasn't just a watchmaker, he was an opera singer.
I'm sorry, what?
A professional tenor.
Get out of here.
No, seriously.
So we have a guy who is obsessed with mechanical perfection, who also spends his nights belting out Verdi.
Precisely. And that collision of two worlds is everything. Because think about how most engineers tune audio equipment.
They use a scope, they look at graphs.
They look at a graph, they use sine waves, they want a flat line, they want the math to be perfect.
Right.
But Joseph, he knew what a human voice actually sounded like in a real physical room. He knew the resonance of a chest cavity. He knew the bite of a vocal cord.
He had the reference right there in his own body.
He had the ultimate test signal, so he tuned his cartridges and later his headphones, not just for the graph, but for voice realism.
So he would listen to a recording of a voice and say, nope, that's not it.
He called it a timbre-first approach. And for our listeners, timbre is just a fancy word for texture. It's the quality that lets you tell the difference between a violin and a flute playing the exact same note.
The character of the sound.
The character. Joseph wanted that texture to be hyper-real, especially for voices.
Okay, so they are the kings of the phono cartridge. They're doing great in the 60s, the 70s.
Yeah.
But then the 80s happen.
Uh-oh.
And a little shiny silver thing called the compact disc shows up.
The asteroid.
Shiny silver asteroid.
It really was an extinction-level event for a company that only made things for vinyl records. The industry consensus was that vinyl was dead. It was going to be buried next to the 8-track tape.
And Joseph saw the writing on the wall.
He looked at the numbers and realized, if we don't pivot, this building goes back to being a fruit store.
So the move to headphones wasn't a passion project. It was pure, raw survival.
It was absolute necessity. Necessity is the mother of invention. They needed a product that could survive the digital age. So, late 80s, they start developing headphones.
And this is where we have to stop and define the Grado sound. Because they didn't just make a generic headphone. They made something that sounds, well, weirdly specific.
It is, without a doubt, the most polarizing sound signature in the entire audiophile world. People either love it or they despise it. There's no middle ground.
If I put a pair of Grados on my head right now, let's say a modern pair, what is happening to my brain? What am I hearing?
Okay, so the first thing you notice isn't even the sound, it's the lack of isolation.
Right, these are open back headphones.
Exactly. Can we just break that down for a second?
Please do.
Most consumer headphones, your Sonys, your Boses, your Beats are closed back. They have a solid plastic or metal cup that seals your ear in.
There's a little room for your ear.
It's a little room, and that keeps noise out and it keeps bass in, but it also traps sound waves. Those waves bounce around inside the cup and can make things sound muddy or
Claustrophobic. Like listening to music in a closet.
That's the perfect analogy. Grado headphones are open. The back of the ear cup is just a wire mesh. You can see right through to the driver.
Which means sound leaks out freely.
And in. You can hear the truck driving by outside. Your coworker in the next cubicle can hear exactly what embarrassing pop song you're listening to.
So why on earth would you do it? That sounds terrible for a commuter.
It is terrible for a commuter. It's the worst possible choice for a plane or a bus. But for sound quality,
That's the trade-off.
it eliminates all those internal reflections. It makes the sound airy. It feels like the music is floating around your head, not being pumped directly into your brainstem.
Okay, so that's the stage. It's a big open stage. What about the actors on the stage? The music itself?
The Grado sound is defined by one word: forward.
Forward.
Imagine you are at a rock concert. Most headphones make you feel like you are standing in the middle of the crowd. Or maybe back by the mixing desk. It's balanced, it's polite, it's safe.
Right, a good overall perspective.
Grado puts you in the front row, leaning against the barricade with the lead singer sweating on you.
That is a very vivid image.
It is vivid. The mid-range, the frequency range where vocals and electric guitars live, is pushed right into your face. It's not laid back.
And I've heard people talk about the speed.
Yes, it has a fast attack. When a drummer hits a snare drum, it snaps. It doesn't bloom. It cracks. It's energetic. It is physically impossible to fall asleep while wearing Grados.
But this leads to the controversy, the big debate, the Grado shout.
Yes, the shout. To get that energy, that excitement, you have to emphasize the upper mid-range and the lower treble frequencies.
The frequencies that give things light.
Bite and presence. For some people, that sounds like incredible detail in life. You hear the fingers on the guitar strings. For others, it sounds like someone is shouting at you through a megaphone.
It can be fatiguing, abrasive even.
It can be. It's an aggressive sound. It's not a sit back with a glass of wine and relax with some smooth jazz sound. It's a jump around the room playing air guitar to AC/DC sound.
And isn't the foam pad actually a huge part of this? I've heard people say the pads are like a second tuning system.
They are absolutely critical, and this is pure physics. Because the driver sits so close to the ear, the type of foam you use changes the distance and the seal.
So a different pad changes the sound.
Drastically. There are flat pads, L cushions, which have a hole, G cushions, which are huge bowls. If you switch from a flat pad to a big bowl-shaped pad, you've just changed the resonant frequency of the air between the driver and your ear canal.
You can literally tune the bass and treble just by changing a piece of $10 foam.
It's analog EQ.
That's wild.
It is. And the Grado community obsesses over this. It's called pad rolling.
So let's go back to the timeline. They've decided to survive the CD asteroid by making headphones. Do they start with the plastic ones we know today?
No. And this is a chapter that's often forgotten by newer fans. They started with a tank.
A tank.
The HP 1000.
A tank. I like it.
Released around the very end of the 80s, early 90s. This was Joseph Grado's masterpiece, his statement piece for headphones.
No plastic.
These were not plastic. They were machined from a proprietary, non-magnetic stainless steel alloy. They were heavy. They felt indestructible.
And the sound. Was it that fun rock and roll sound?
Not at all. These were tools. This was the watchmaker coming out to play.
So they weren't for listening to music, they were for analyzing it.
Yes. They were brutally, unforgivingly neutral. Recording engineers used them as a truth serum. If your mix was bad, if the vocals were too sibilant, the HP 1000 told you in no uncertain term.
It wouldn't flatter anything.
It flattered nothing. They are legendary now. If you can find a pair on eBay, you are paying thousands and thousands of dollars.
And there were different versions, right? I read something about polarity switches.
Yeah, that's the peak of the nerdiness. The top model, the HP1, had polarity switches right on the ear cup.
What for?
You could flip the phase of the audio signal on the fly. That is such an engineer-focused feature. No consumer needs that. But Joseph put there because he thought it was important for checking the absolute phase of a recording.
So what happened to the tank? Why aren't we all wearing indestructible steel headphones?
Cost and weight. They're incredibly expensive and time-consuming to make. And a change in leadership. In 1990, Joseph is ready to retire.
The watchmaker hangs up his loop.
And he hands the keys to the fruit store to his nephew, John Grado.
Enter John, the second generation.
John is a very different guy. He has immense respect for the legacy, for his uncle's work, but he's also a pragmatist. He realizes that to survive, they can't just sell a few hundred indestructible steel headphones to studio engineers for a fortune.
They need to sell to the people.
They need to democratize the sound. They need to get it out there.
So he swaps the expensive, heavy steel for polycarbonate.
Plastic. But high-grade plastic. And this is the moment that births the Prestige series, the SR line.
This is the heart of the brand. This is the SR60, SR80. The ones everyone knows.
The SR60 is, and I'm not using hyperbole here, one of the most important products in the history of high-end audio.
Now hold on. Why? It's, an $80 plastic headphone? How can it be that important?
Because before the SR60 came out in the early 90s, audiophile sound was something rich people had. It was for lawyers and dentists who could afford giant room-sized speakers and $1,000 amplifiers.
So it's an exclusive club.
Totally. The SR60 proved that for the price of a few CDs, a college student in their dorm room could hear what high-end audio actually sounded like.
It was the gateway drug.
It was the ultimate gateway drug. It hooked an entire generation on good sound.
And John voiced them differently from the HP 1000.
Yeah. Completely differently. He moved away from that brutal neutrality and leaned into that fun, energetic sound we talked about. He wanted them to sound good with The Who, with Led Zeppelin, not just pristine classical recordings.
And the lineup is a little confusing to outsiders. You have the SR60, the SR80, the SR125, the SR225, all in the same plastic body. Do they actually sound different?
That is the eternal debate in the Grado community.
I bet.
They all share the same basic chassis, but as you go up the ladder, the drivers are matched more closely, the tolerances get tighter.
Ah, the watchmaker's ghost.
It's still there. The voice coils are wound with higher precision wire, the cable quality improves, so yes, they do sound different. The higher models are generally more refined, more detailed.
And then you hit the top of the pile. The odd one out. The SR325.
The flashy sibling. The SR325 is the top of the Prestige line, but it breaks the rule. It's usually housed in aluminum.
Back to metal.
Back to metal. It's heavy again. And it is bright. It is a detail monster. The SR325 is the one that people either worship as a god of clarity or run away from screaming because the treble is so intense.
I remember reading about a specific version, the gold one.
The SR325i gold. Oh man. It was painted this gaudy, almost absurdly bright gold color. It looked like something a Bond villain would wear.
So it was a joke.
It looked like one, but the community adores them because they had a very specific, aggressive tuning that many feel was the peak of that energetic Grado sound. They are serious collector's items now.
So we have the plastic line for the masses, the metal one for the detail freaks. But Grado is also famous for wood.
Ah, yes, the reference series.
This is where the aesthetic really clicks for me. A mahogany cup, a simple leather band. It looks less like a headphone and more like a piece of vintage furniture or a piped smoker's accessory.
Wood as identity. This was John Grado's other big move in the 90s. He realized that wood wasn't just pretty, it has acoustic properties.
It's basically an instrument body, like a guitar or a violin.
That is the perfect way to think about it. Plastic can sometimes have a harsh resonance. It can ring or sound a bit hard. Wood resonates in a pleasing way. It adds a natural decay and warmth to the sound.
They call it the romance.
They do.
Yeah.
The RS-1, which is the flagship wooden model, is the romantic lead of the Grado movie. It's lush, it's rich, it makes vocals sound incredibly organic and present.
And again, with these, the collectors go insane for the tiny details. Have you heard of the RS-1 button? Is it a button you press for more bass or something?
No, nothing functional at all. It's purely cosmetic. The very, very early versions of the RS-1 had a tiny wooden button, a little dot of wood, glued into the center of the metal grill on the outside.
That's it.
That is it.
And people care.
Oh, they care immensely. If you have a button RS-1, you are considered audio royalty. It signifies the golden era of John Grado's early tuning before they made any changes. It's a connection to history. And Grado saw this passion and leaned right into this wood obsession with the Heritage series, the GH models.
This is the locally sourced,
Yes.
artisanal, hipster part of the story, isn't it?
It really is. And it starts with the GH one, which is the ultimate Brooklyn story.
Oh, one.
There was a specific maple tree in Sunset Park, literally down the street from the Grado factory, that got knocked down during Superstorm Sandy, a casualty of the storm.
And they rescued it from the chipper?
They bought the tree, they took it back to the shop, had it cured, and they made the GH1 headphones out of that specific local tree.
So you were literally wearing a tree from their block on your head.
You are wearing a piece of their neighborhood. It's a beautiful narrative, but the crazy thing is, it also sounded different. Maple is a much harder, denser wood than mahogany.
So it sounded brighter.
Exactly. Brighter, punchier, faster.
Okay.
Then they did the GH2 with cocobolo wood, which is this very dense, oily, tropical wood from Central America.
And that sounded.
Richer, darker, more resonant, a much warmer sound.
It's like wine tasting. You're talking about the terroir of the wood affecting the sound.
It really is. Terroir for your ears. They even did Norwegian pine for the GH3 and GH4. Pine is a very soft wood, so they had to use a special quarter sawn cut to make it structurally stable enough.
And each one has its own little cult following.
Each one has a story. It's not just audio gear. It's a story you wear on your head.
Speaking of flavor and materials, we have to talk about the weirdest one, the most unlikely material, the hemp headphone.
I knew we would get here. The hemp phone.
I mean, come on. The hemp phone. Was this a joke? Was it 4.20 at the Grado factory one afternoon and someone had an idea?
It definitely started as an experiment. They are always testing materials. They tried using highly compressed hemp fiber bonded with maple wood.
What was the theory?
Well, hemp fibers are very rigid, but also have high damping. The idea was to create a material that wouldn't resonate in a bad way.
Yeah.
And everyone, myself included, assumed it would be a gimmick, a novelty item. But when they listened to it, it was shocking.
Good shock.
The hemp fiber has this incredible damping quality. It just absorbs unwanted resonance very, very quickly.
So it's not muddy or slow.
It's the absolute opposite. It's incredibly punchy. It has this thick, meaty, textured bass that most Grados usually lack, but the mid-range and treble are still crystal clear. It became an instant classic.
And it was supposed to be a limited edition.
It was, but people demanded they keep making it. It was too good to be a one-off.
So the stoner joke turned into a genuinely serious audiophile product.
Only Grado could pull that off. It fits their whole weird, wonderful identity.
And it's not just their own weird projects. They've become a sort of boutique canvas for other brands to play with.
Yeah, the collaborations are fascinating.
Dolce & Gabbana, the fashion house.
Yeah.
E&J branding.
Oh, yeah.
A24, the film studio. What's the appeal for these other brands?
I think it's the authenticity. Grado is real. It's a tangible, crafted object. In a world of digital everything, collaborating with Grado gives your brand a piece of that physical, craft-based credibility.
Okay, so we've covered the small on-ear headphones, but Grado also decided at some point that on-ear wasn't enough. They wanted to go over-ear. They wanted to go big.
The Statement Series, the GS models,
These are the ones with the salad bowls.
the giant foam cushions, officially called the G cushions.
Why go so big? What's the goal there?
Soundstage. We talked about how the small Prestige series puts you in the front row of the concert.
Right, it's intense and in your face.
The Statement Series tries to put you in the middle of the concert hall. By moving the driver further away from the ear and creating a much larger chamber of air around your ear, you get a massive sense of space.
It sounds 3D. Like the sound is coming from all around you, not just from the sides.
It does. The GS1000 was the game changer here. It's a very different flavor of Grado. It's less aggressive, more spacious, more ethereal. A lot of classical and jazz music lovers migrated to these.
And they took the wood concept to the extreme here, too.
Oh, yeah. The flagship GS3000 uses cocobolo, just like the smaller Heritage model, but now it's this huge, resonant wooden chamber. The scale is just immense.
And then there is the professional series, the PS models.
It's a hybrid, the ultimate expression of the Grado philosophy, in a way.
What do you mean by hybrid?
This is where they take the wood inner sleeve for that organic romance and timber, and they sheath it in a heavy chrome-plated metal housing.
For that precision and lack of resonance.
It's the watchmaker and the opera singer in a single headphone.
It's a cyborg.
It is. The PS1000 and the even more extreme PS2000E. They are incredibly heavy. If you look down while wearing them, they might actually slide off your head.
But the sound.
The resolution is terrifying. It's not just hearing the musician play, it's hearing the pianist breathing. It's hearing the squeak of the bass drum pedal. It's almost too much information.
I want to pause on the letter E you just used, because this confuses everyone. We hear about the SR80D, the SR80X, the SR80I. What is this alphabet soup?
It's the generations. It's how you track the evolution of the tuning and the parts over time.
Okay, decode it for us. Give us the Rosetta Stone for Grado suffixes.
All right. The original 90s models had no letter. It was just SR80. Simple.
The OG?
The OG. Then in 2008, you get the I series. The I stands for improved. They upgraded the drivers, and the cables became much thicker and more robust.
Okay, so I is 2008.
Then in 2014, the E series, this was a bigger jump. They started using these new distinctive red color drivers inside. They talked about new curing processes for the wood, better polymers for the plastic, better glues, a refinement of the whole process.
And now?
Since about 2020, we are in the X series.
The X-Files. What's the story here?
And the X series caused a bit of a stir in the community.
What controversy?
The main change was that the drivers were completely redesigned to be more efficient. They're easier to drive.
Easier to drive. Explain that like I'm 5.
Okay, it's about impedance and sensitivity. Basically, how much electrical power do you need from your amplifier to make the headphone get loud? Old school high-end headphones often needed big, powerful desktop amplifiers. If you plugged them into an old iPod, you'd barely hear a whisper.
You needed a power station on your desk.
Pretty much. The X series is designed so you can plug it straight into a MacBook or an iPhone dongle, and it sounds full, dynamic, and loud.
That sounds like a good thing. Why would anyone complain about that?
Because audiophiles are a doubly suspicious and conservative bunch.
True.
Some purists worry that by tuning for efficiency for a phone, you might lose some of that magical control, that nuance and detail that a big, powerful amp can provide.
Is it true?
It's a subtle change in flavor.
Okay, here's where I want to really slow down and dig in, because we've talked about the products that come out of the factory, but there is a whole other world, a shadow world.
The Gradoversum. The Gradover.
The Gradoversum. I love this concept. Because let's be brutally honest, and maybe I'll get in trouble with the fans for saying this, but stock Grado headphones feel a little cheap.
That is the most polite way to put it. They feel like toys you'd get in a Happy Meal.
Right. The headband is a thin strip of vinyl with basically no padding. The gimbals, the little C-shaped claws holding the cups, are flimsy plastic. The rods loosen up over time so the cups slide down your head.
And comfort is the #1 complaint, by a mile. People talk about Grado ear because the rough foam pads literally scratch your ears after an hour.
But because the design is so simple, it's basically just screws and glue, it has spawned this incredible aftermarket modding scene. People don't just buy Grados, they rebuild them. So let's talk about the big players in this space. Because this isn't just some guy on eBay with the 3D printer. These are serious boutique companies in their own right.
They are artisans.
Nightsage Audio.
Nisage. Based in Poland. A one-man operation, I believe.
So what's their deal?
If you look at a stock Grado, that gimbal, the C-shaped clamp holding the cup, is black plastic. It has seams from the mold. It flexes. It feels cheap. Nisage looks at that piece of plastic and says, "This is unacceptable." So what does he do? He machines replacement parts out of solid blocks of aluminum or stainless steel.
Okay, now we're talking.
And we aren't talking about rough cuts. This is jewelry-grade, precision machining, bead-blasted matte finishes, anodized colors. You take your $80 plastic SR80, you pop off the plastic claws, and you install these cold, heavy, precision metal gimbals from Poland.
How did that change the feel of the headphone?
It transforms it completely. Suddenly, the adjustment of the cup isn't the jerky slide. It's a smooth, hydraulic-feeling glide. The headphone stops feeling like a toy and starts feeling like a scientific instrument.
And it adds weight.
It adds weight, but in a good way. It feels substantial, like it will last for 100 years.
And they do the rod blocks, too. The part that holds the metal rods.
Yes, the block that connects the headband to the rods. The stock one is plastic, and it's notorious for eventually cracking or getting loose.
Yep.
The Nizage one is a solid metal block that clamps down with tiny hex screws. It's permanent. It's over-engineered in the most beautiful way.
It's the tank philosophy of the HP 1000, but applied by the community. You're turning your cheap headphones into an apocalypse-proof object.
Precisely. Nizage also makes some incredible, thick leather headbands and custom ear pads, but their fame, their reputation, is really built on that metal hardware. It's for the person who appreciates the engineering that Grado didn't do.
Okay, so that's Poland, the industrial precision.
Yeah.
Now let's fly to Malaysia. Turbulent Labs.
Turbulent Labs. While Nizage fixes the mechanics and the structure, Turbulent Labs fixes the comfort and the look. Their claim to fame is the headband.
And the stock band is, let's be honest, an instrument of torture. It's a thin strip of pleather.
It's awful. Turbulent Labs makes these thick, plush, beautifully padded leather headbands. They use premium materials, lambskin, merino wool, suede. The stitching is perfect.
And the color palette.
The color palette is insane.
It's not just black and brown.
Oh no, you can get mustard yellow,
Wow.
Tiffany blue, deep burgundy, classic tan.
So you can literally color match your Grado headphones to your sneakers or your watch strap.
Or your listening chair. It turns the headphone from a functional object into a lifestyle accessory, a piece of personal expression.
And critically, the padding is thick.
It's very thick. It distributes the weight perfectly. You can wear a heavy PS1000 for 4 hours with a Turbulent Labs band and not feel that single hot spot digging into the top of your skull. They solve the #1 comfort problem.
I just love the idea of this global bespoke supply chain.
Yeah.
You buy the drivers and the cups from a family-run fruit store in Brooklyn.
Right?
You order the metal skeleton from a master machinist in Poland.
Yep.
You order the leather suspension system from a artisan tailor in Malaysia.
And you assemble it yourself on your desk on a Tuesday night.
That is the magic. It's a Frankenphone. But it's your Frankenphone. You built it, you chose the parts, you tuned it.
You have a connection to it that you just don't get with a mass-produced product.
We have to talk about the now. The current era. We are looking at the 2024 to 2026 era, what some are calling the signature renaissance.
This is the biggest news in the Grado world in decades, a fundamental shift.
Because Grado finally did the thing. The one thing everyone has been begging for since the 1990s. The one thing that held so many people back.
Detachable cables.
Whispering. Thank God. Finally.
It seems so small, right? Such a basic feature that every other headphone company figured out years ago. But for Grado, it was a huge step.
And it was a real problem. The cable is always the failure point on any headphone. You roll over it with your office chair, your cat chews on it.
And on old Grados, if the cable broke, the headphone was basically dead unless you were skilled with a soldering iron.
You had to send it back to Brooklyn for a costly repair.
With the new signature line, the HP 1000 SE, the S950, the S750, they finally introduced a high-quality, dual-entry detachable cable system. You click it in. If it breaks, you buy a new cable for $20 and you're done.
Why did it take them so long?
Stubbornness and a genuine, if perhaps outdated, engineering belief that a single hardwired connection sounded purer because there was no break in the signal path.
But market pressure finally won.
The market finally dragged them into the 21st century on that one feature.
And tell me about the sound of this new era. I've heard rumors that it's different. It's not the same old Grado sound.
It is different. The flagship of the new line, the HP 1000 SE, which launched in late 2024 to celebrate what would have been Joseph Grado's 100th birthday, signals a major shift.
It's not the wild V-shaped, shouty fun of the Prestige series.
No, it's grown up.
Grown up.
It's more linear, it's smoother, it's incredibly refined and technical. It actually harkens back to that original steel HP 1000 we talked about at the very beginning.
It's aiming for honesty rather than just excitement.
That's the perfect way to put it. The pendulum is swinging back from John's rock and roll tuning towards Joseph's watchmaker precision.
So we are seeing a full circle moment for the company.
We absolutely are. They are synthesizing the modern tech, the new X-series drivers, the detachable cables, with the original philosophy of the founder, accuracy and realism.
But they still look like they were made in a garage in 1978.
That will never, ever change. They still have the foam pads, they still have the metal rods, the DNA is unmistakable.
And they are still made in Brooklyn.
Still hand-assembled in the same building, the family still runs it. John's sons, Jonathan and Matthew, are heavily involved now. It is a continuous, unbroken line.
That continuity is really the product, isn't it? When you buy a Grado, you aren't just buying a transducer that moves air. You are buying into a philosophy.
Yeah.
A refusal to change for the sake of change.
You are buying a stubborn object. In a world of disposable tech, where your headphones have a battery that is designed to die in 3 years and software that stops updating, a Grado is forever.
It's just wire and magnets and wood.
It will work in 50 years, just like it works today.
It invites you to fix it. It invites you to call Nietzsche in Poland and make it better. It invites you to argue on forums about whether the E-series was better than the X-series.
It creates a relationship. You don't own it. You're its caretaker.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the sonic alchemist of Sunset Park, what is the takeaway? Why does this matter to the person listening on their noise-canceling Bluetooth AI-powered earbuds right now?
I think it raises a really provocative question about the future of audio and maybe the future of luxury. We are entering the age of perfection. AI can generate music that is mathematically perfect. DSP, digital signal processing, can correct any headphone to measure with a perfectly flat frequency response. Noise canceling deletes the imperfect world around you.
We are entering the age of the silent room, the perfect anechoic chamber for our minds.
Exactly. Audio is becoming sterile. It's perfect, but it's sterile. Grado represents the complete opposite of that. It represents character.
It represents flaws.
Beautiful human flaws, the resonance of the wood, the slight, exciting aggression of the treble. And my final thought is this. As everything else in our lives becomes digital, perfect, and disposable, character might be the only true luxury we have left. The beauty of imperfection.
That is a thought to chew on. A really good one.
Indeed.
So here's my challenge to you listening right now. Step out of the silent room. Go find a pair of Grados. You don't have to spend a fortune. Start with an SR60X or an SR80X. Put them on.
And be warned, you might hate them.
You really might. You might put them on and think, why is this guitar shouting at me? Why can I hear the bus outside my window? This is terrible.
It's a shock to the system.
But give it a minute. Give it an hour. Listen to a great live recording, something with energy. Close your eyes.
And you might just find yourself on a website in Malaysia at 2 a.m. trying to decide between a burgundy or a tan leather headband.
It's a dangerous, wonderful rabbit hole, folks. But it sounds amazing down there. Thanks for diving in with us.
Always a pleasure.